Hey guys, Tactical Gentleman here, and today we are going to be talking to you about the Microtech Hellhound Tanto. This is an automatic OTF knife, which quickly became one of my favorite everyday carries, and for obvious reasons. I mean, this knife is absolutely striking, and let's talk about that for a second. I mean, first we've got this really badass looking blade, right? It is a modified Tanto with a pretty cool looking swedge right there. As you can see, it's also got a very deep and aggressive blood groove there to make sure that it doesn't get stuck in anything or anyone. And we've also got some holes drilled through the spine of the blade here to reduce the weight as well. Now it's got a really cool finish on this blade. I don't know if you guys can really tell, but it is a little bit of a golden colored or tan colored stone wash. And that of course matches the rest of the hardware on the knife, including these proprietary screws, which have sort of like a triangle shaped head to them. The tip down pocket clip. Of course, the deployment button. And lastly, the emergency window punch. So that all matches, giving it a really, really nice contrast with the black handle. And let's talk about some of the ergonomics here. So we have some really aggressive jimping on some of the important grip points of the blade, including the front and the back. And then of course we have some really aggressive texture there on the button itself. Now, if you've ever worked with a Microtech knife before, you know it's not necessarily an easy deployment. It's got some resistance in that button there. That's for good reason. Number one, it's to make sure that you don't accidentally deploy this thing and, you know, end up causing yourself an injury. Number two, I would imagine it provides some safety from younger children trying to open this knife as well. But one thing to keep in mind, you know, if you've got sweaty hands, if you've got weak hands, or maybe you have some blood on your hand, you know, it could be a tricky knife to deploy. Another downside to this knife, if you can even call it that, guys, honestly, it's not really much of an issue for me personally, but try to be as unbiased and objective as possible with these reviews, is that it's got a really small lanyard hole. You're not fitting a standard piece of paracord through there, and that's okay, right? I mean, honestly, nobody really cares about a lanyard hole on a knife of this kind, but I thought it was worth mentioning nonetheless. We do have a cool little logo here, which has held up fairly well. This knife has been getting quite a bit of carry activity and use from me, and it is really just razor sharp. And I have had no issues with it whatsoever up to this point. Probably had it for about a year or two now. So anyway, guys, let's check out that deployment. After all, that is what we're all here for, right? Watch that cool blade do its thing. Just really an impressive looking blade there. Something that's very eye-catching, fairly different from what most people are used to seeing, which is really what attracted me to this. I love a good OTF and I love a good Tanto. And, you know, this one really just stands out as being incredibly unique. Now, this knife is discontinued, guys. So good luck getting your hands on one. If you can find one at a show on eBay or, you know, through a trade somehow or whatnot, I do encourage you to get your hands on one. They retailed originally for somewhere between $350 and $450 USD. And let me just tell you, I feel like that was money well spent here. I've been very happy with this knife. It's definitely one of my favorites in my collection. And if you have a chance to get your hands on it too, I think you'll enjoy it just as much as I do. Really just a lightning fast deployment there. Feels super sturdy. And guys, this is the one thing that really impresses me here is with Microtech automatic OTFs, you have like really no blade play, which is very, very uncommon in OTFs. A lot of them feel kind of wobbly or not necessarily as secure as, you know, like a cold steel axis lock or, you know, a really good frame lock. But I've got to say, you know, this feels just as strong as those other kinds of knives. And that really was something that was important to me. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on something that had a cheap feel or a poor lockup. So I've got to say, guys, I've been incredibly happy with this knife. I hope you enjoy this little review here. If you do, please feel free to drop a like and subscribe. And if you guys have any questions or comments about this knife, or if you have any other knives that you'd like me to review, please go ahead and drop me a comment and let me know. All right, guys, really appreciate your time. Stay safe, stay aware, and stay prepared. Tactical Gentleman out.